Deep Roots Productions.
Hello and namaste, listeners. Welcome to the Community College Chronicles brought to you by the Deep Roots Productions. This is a place where we listen, learn, and live through our podcasts and through the power of storytelling and conversations that actually matter. I'm your co host, Yagna Samvida Rangavachala.
And I am Lushonda Stevens. Today we are thrilled to be joined by Dr. Troy Podell, the Supervisor of Teaching and Learning at Downingtown Area School District. He is someone who's passionate about dual enrollment and early college access.
Hello, Dr. Podell. Welcome to the Community College Chronicles. We are so glad to have you here.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm thrilled. I'm excited to be having this conversation with you.
Perfect. We are very excited. As I do in each and every episode with my guests, how are you feeling today on scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, I would say a solid 9.5 to 9.75. Uh, I'm
Okay.
reticent to ever say 10 out of 10 because I want to leave room for things to always improve.
Wow, that's wonderful. No pressure at all, of course, but but yes, as I promised to all my guests in each and every episode till date, we will try our level best to keep up the same energy till the very end of our episode. Great. Perfect. Then let's get right into it and let's start from the very beginning. Can you tell us a bit about your journey in education and what inspired you to focus on curriculum and post secondary pathways?
So I think the best place to start is 15, 16-year-old Troy Podell.
Hmm.
I'm a high school student in Westchester, New York, a little village called Dobbs Ferry. It's like 2 miles square, had its own K-12 system. And I was going to school with the same 65, 70 something kids, K to 12 in a public system, and was starting to feel very trapped by that prospect as uh, an early 10th grader, late ninth grader. I knew academically I was ready for a different challenge. I felt like socially I was ready for a different challenge. And so I'm sitting in my school counselor's office. This has to be September or October of my sophomore year, and saying, I don't want to do 2 more years of this, 2.5 more years of this. And she very innocently raises, well, what if you graduate early? Well, what do you mean? I didn't even realize that was a possibility. And she said, yeah, well, we can work out some way of you getting alternative credit. And this is in um, fall 1999 into spring of 2000. No, fall of 2000 into spring of 2001. Right?
Hmm.
That's my sophomore year. And she says, yeah, this before dual enrollment is a thing in the parlance that we know it now. If you go over the summer to Mercy College, it's right down the street from Dobbs Ferry High School, you take an English level 100 class and an economics level 100 class. The principal signs off on it as alternative credit for your senior year of English and your senior year of social studies. You could take a junior schedule. You could walk across the stage and get your degree, and that's exactly what I did. So I sort of compressed my junior and senior year together into a singular year. Um, so I skipped my senior year of high school essentially and went straight to Temple University
Oh,
in
wow.
the fall of 2002, barely 17 years of age. It didn't seem that radical to me. My father had skipped his third and seventh grade year in schooling in the New York City public system. My mother, I believe, had also skipped a grade at some point. I want to say it was seventh. So the idea that one could accelerate wasn't foreign to me in the meta. I just didn't know that it was a thing that could be done for me. You fast forward a few years in life, and it's funny how things circle back. My life was empowered to start because of dual enrollment programming, essentially, and changing the system to make it work for me rather than me having to work for the system for another year. I moved on after Temple and became a broadcasting salesperson and a little bit of on-air work and production work for what at the time was CBS Radio. It's now Odyssey. I did that for a few
Oh,
years.
oh wow.
It was a lot of fun. And then I had a quarter life crisis and said, I'm doing well, but I'm not doing good. And realized that the part of sales that I enjoyed the most was customer success, helping other people succeed and set goals for their business or for themselves and to realize those goals and to be a conduit for that. And in between my sales appointments, I was reading these great works of civics and history and economics. And so I said, well, I can get paid to do both of those things if I go back to school and be a teacher. Now, if you would have told, 16-year-old Troy Podell, skipping his senior year of high school, that he would end up making a career in high school, uh, I would have laughed in your face. Now here I am at 40 years of age, and I can't imagine doing anything else with my time. I I get the privilege of helping young people define happiness for themselves and then pursue it. And as I made the system work for me, I now get to tinker with the system to make it work for today's kids. So it, it feels like this sort of natural outgrowth of my lived experience to be able to bring dual enrollment programming to students and help them on their journey.
That's amazing. That's great that you were able, not even knowing, right, at that young age that you were going to end up doing the same thing for others. That's a wonderful experience just to go through and just realize like yeah, you have a purpose in sharing and helping others, and definitely did not expect it to be like that, but thank God that you were in that situation when you were younger and then realized, oh wow, this is what they were doing for me, well let me do it for them. So that's great.
I mean, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Right, right. I mean, hey, that's why me and Yegner are together. I mean, we were in the new media lab at DCCC and we enjoyed what we did there. And then we were like, hey, let's implement it outside of our educational path of that and kind of keep learning and keep doing what we learned there. So definitely, I want to share it and promote it as much as possible to go to a community college. So yeah, thank you for that.
Of course, of
Yep,
course.
thank you very much for that. It's nice to hear such great things like something that happened to you and you're trying to do the same thing for the others, like the good things. That's Thank you so much for that. Well, you kind of did mention about dual enrollment, and today's episode is also going to be focusing, like, we're going to focus on dual enrollment as a whole. For our listeners who may not be very familiar with that, can you explain what dual enrollment is and how it compares to early high school models?
Sure. So dual enrollment at its bare bones level means that one student is enrolled in multiple institutions, and in this particular context, at multiple levels, a simultaneous enrollment in high school and in college, right? And so for completing the same coursework, the student is credited at both the high school and the college, right? Now, there are different forms of dual enrollment. Uh, there are dual enrollment programs that are what one would call college in the high school, where you are uh, taking a high school class and the syllabus for that high school class, often an advanced placement class or an international baccalaureate class, it matches sufficiently with a college or university's offering that for earning the high school credit, you are then given the college credit. Right? There's also a model where the student is taking a college class and we are blessing it with high school credit simultaneously. So in the Downingtown Area School District, we do both. We have extensive agreements with Delaware County Community College, with Temple University, with uh, with Westchester University, with Immaculata University, with the University of Pittsburgh, to offer dual credit opportunities within our high schools to then offer students college credit for completing those high school courses, where we have pathway programs for students where they are taking a designed batch of courses toward a particular outcome, and we're offering high school credit for that. So it started as career exploration work that we would do together. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania identified as high priority occupations health and medicine and education, where we had what one would call negative unemployment. Right? So there were more openings than there were workers with the credentials to fill them. What those two occupations tend to have in common is that there's a barrier to entry of credentialing, right? You need to have a certification to be a teacher. You need to have certain certifications in order to administer healthcare, right? So we created a program where students would essentially earn, by spending half their day on the community college's campus, they'd earn about a semester's worth of college credit over the course of their senior year. It would earn them a number of elective credits toward their Downingtown High School diploma for doing that coursework. And in the case of the Health and Medical Career Exploration Program, they're earning a laundry list of healthcare certifications from the community college and getting some practical experience in hospital visitation hours. It's meant to be an on-ramp to employment, right? So even if the student goes away for school, they come back and they've got this pre-existing relationship with this hospital, and they're going to continue that relationship. Next year, we're going to have north of 85 students spending half their day on the community college's campus in pursuit of an associate's degree in either engineering or liberal arts. And kids that are graduating with that credential are starting as first semester juniors at four-year colleges and universities, many of them very competitive, and we're changing lives. We're doing that short circuiting.
Yes, definitely. That actually goes to our next question when you talked about like the benefits. So when it comes to academically and personally, what do students gain from dual enrollment through community college, for example?
So the literature on the academic benefits it's so definitive at this point that it almost doesn't merit challenge, right? But that would be anti-intellectual, and so I won't go down that rabbit hole. You're going to do better in high school. You're going to do better in college. You're going to graduate college faster, and you're going to do it with less debt and a lower amount of money. Like that, it just is. It's what's going to happen when you do dual enrollment. It's fantastic, right? What's sort of incalculable behind the numbers is that greater sense of agency that students feel over their own destiny. And I lived that, right? Being able to assume control over my own circumstances to a greater degree as a 16 or 17-year-old than I could otherwise, that's very attractive. And to the adolescent egocentric mind, to the budding young adult mind, there are so many difficult circumstances to navigate where you have some degree of autonomy and some degree of adulthood, but you're still a child and there's still a lot that's imposed upon you, right? And there are strictures that you must fit into. And the K-12 world is very good at providing you with strictures. You must do this. You must show up at this point in time. You are here until, and then you are transitioning to, and you are only allowed to leave if. And to be able to sort of, I've used the word short circuit a lot, to be able to disrupt that, to be able to give greater autonomy and control to these young adults and support in exercising that autonomy and control. Because when students experience difficulty when they're enrolled in our programs with Delaware County Community College, they get support of multiple institutions. I get alerted that the student is experiencing academic difficulty, and then we can wrap supports around them at both the college level and the high school level so that they're succeeding. Think about the statement that makes. If I'm a 17-year-old kid and I'm in the middle of pursuing an associate's degree, and doggone it, this Calc 1 is just kicking my butt, to be able to know that I can access free tutoring at the community college, that I can access a math lab or some sort of support at my high school, that's huge. that's huge. It's wind at my back and lets me know that all of these different stakeholders are invested in me being successful.
Wow. I think I absolutely agree with you. Although I'm not a dual enrollment student, but I wish I was. But when you mentioned and reflecting back on a few of the answers that you've given about debt, being debt free and giving the control to students about how they want their life to be instead of just following in that same old track of completing high school and going to university for 4 years. I mean, I kind of did something different for myself too. Like, funny story is that I relocated and I came to Downingtown East High School for my marking period 3 of my junior year. So I have my,
Wow.
yeah. So I relocated from India. I joined high school like right away after a week. I came here, and it was junior year and senior year of 2 years of high school. And then suddenly I was thrusted into this world where I have to go to college, and I'm still adjusting to the difference in environments and all of that. And then I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. I don't want to have debts, and it's funny because my dad was very sure about not having debts because that's a bad thing, not a bad thing, but then it's a lot for somebody who's just relocated from a different place and starting a new life, because I don't want to start a new journey or new chapter with a lot of money on my shoulders, like I have to pay so and so, but I should enjoy the process, right? Attending a community college, I was able to complete my degree, associate's degree, with just 20,000 for 2 years. I mean,
Yep.
saving 20,000, like, it was a lot. Me being an international student and 40,000 per year and just 10,000 per, I mean, 20,000 per year, it's a total different number. And the sense of satisfaction we have at the end of the day, like, I saved money and I'm also happy about it, it's completely different. And yeah, now this is just for somebody who just graduated from high school and went to community college. Now that I'm imagining how it would be for students who are already in high school, completing their degree, and then just going to a 4 year institution as a junior student in such a way that they're academically forward and they know what to do and they're aware of their surroundings, it's mind blowing. I love this. Like, dual enrollment and going to community college right after high school is such a beautiful thing, and I can't stop talking about it. Moving forward, this is such a beautiful discussion. I can't stop talking about it once I start talking about it. So now that we've talked about in universities and all of that, are community colleges uniquely positioned to offer these opportunities when compared to a 4 year institution? Like, what's your opinion on that?
So community colleges have historically had to be more nimble than their 4-year college or university counterparts. And there's myriad reasons why that's the case, right? And I don't know that it's worth us going down that rabbit hole necessarily, but to speak specifically of the positives of community colleges, they're local, they're on the ground, they have to compete for students in a way that 4-year colleges and universities don't necessarily have to, or it's more acute for them to compete, and so the incentive is there for them to be more flexible. But the community college is uniquely positioned as an institution. The way that you worded it is, it's so spot on, Yagna, that they are, um, because they're designed to transition students from the overwhelmingly from the world of high school into the world of 4-year college and university. Um, they're the ones that I think where this conversation tends to live.
Interesting, good to know. Now, when it comes to academically, though, what needs to be in place to ensure the courses are rigorous but supportive for the high school students?
Wow. Um, you know, I think a lot of that is taken care of by the fact that in that particular context of the community college, and then we're offering high school credit for that class, that's taken care of by the fact that the community college has rigorous standards within their courses themselves. The accreditation process takes care of a lot of that for us. And the fact that at our community college, you need a master's degree in the discipline in order to teach bachelor's level classes. That helps us tremendously. And I believe in the quality control of the partner. For the high school classes that are then offered college credit, that's taken care of through that sort of horse trading of syllabi. So us being true to our promise to the community college that the student as a result of going through the course, knows and is able to do certain things. It's easier for us to make that promise when we're adhering to a third party curricula, whether that's advanced placement from the College Board or international baccalaureate classes. That's easier for us because like there's going to be a common summative assessment at the end of the rainbow in terms of the AP test or the IB testing, and like we're going to know. And if we just do terribly year after year after year on those terminal assessments, then like that's alarm bells and there's something wrong, and there's going to be corrective measures and the like. Advanced placement courses are offered by the College Board, and they're designed to be uh, college level courses taught in a high school setting where the instructor is provided additional training by the College Board in order to teach the class at a college level. Uh, the student takes a terminal exam at the end of the course, and if they score high enough on the exam, the college or university to which they're matriculating might or might not give them credit. Okay? And the same is true of the International Baccalaureate that's run out of Cardiff, was founded in the 1940s as an outgrowth of sort of the United Nations and the international system. And the idea originally was, if we're going to have this massive international system of diplomacy, diplomats' kids are going to be traveling all around the world. There needs to be a common curriculum that they can access so that their education doesn't get interrupted as they travel at the mercy of their parents, right, and their parents' diplomatic postings. And then eventually, lots of schools all over the world realized, hey, this is a really great curriculum. It's rigorous, it's holistic, as opposed to the College Board, where the AP, it's designed to be accessed a la carte. If we're doing as well as we tend to do, like that's truth and advertising and quality assurance. Things require a greater degree of trust and fidelity between the partner institutions when it's our original curriculum being horse traded with the original curriculum of the college. And then we find that overlap, and then we say, look, we have to maintain fidelity. We have to do that. Fortunately, we have a phenomenal team of teachers in the Downingtown Area School District. We have an amazing team of administrators in the Downingtown Area School District, and folks that are dedicated to doing their job well and doing it right. So you ask an honest question, LaShonda, and I'm not giving it short shrift to say that while I worry about it, I don't worry about it.
Okay.
Respect
Makes
that.
sense. Yeah, makes sense. Going back to students and how you deal with students, what kind of prep or advising do students usually need before diving right into, these college level courses or classes?
So fortunately, with our programs with the community college, there is a barrier to entry of qualifying scores on in reading and in mathematics and in writing. Okay, so we know based on a student's demonstrated performance that they're ready for college level work. That's a tremendous reassurance for us. And if they're not yet ready for college level work in their test scores for our Keystone examinations, which are our state state tests at the high school level, or the PSAT or the SAT or the ACT, we have students sit for the AccuPlacer exam, which the College Board also administers, and that will give us a data point to say, yes, this student is ready. There are some students that, while they're in high school, they're just not ready yet, and they need a little more seasoning and a little more time in order to attempt those college level classes. They've got to build up those skills and build up that content knowledge. Okay, then this isn't a fit for them, and that's okay. And we're going to give you the best instruction that we can in order to help get you there. So, it really is a matter of meeting kids where they are and providing them with the instruction that they need in order to be successful.
Moving on, Do you see community colleges as a critical part of the US education system today?
Yes, and growing, and they should be. The fact of the matter is that we created the K 12 system to serve an industrial model that no longer exists. They were originally called factory schools so that they could churn out students to work on factory assembly lines as workers. And to serve that economic model of the day made a lot of sense. We now no longer live in that world. We do not. And frankly, like there are vestiges of that factory system, like bells between periods, getting you used to transitioning at auditory cues. It's like psychological programming, getting you used to responding to that when you're on the assembly line. There's the whistle shifts off, there's the whistle shifts on, right? Um, a lot of that needs to be rethought in the K-12 system. And there are places that are, and they're doing it better than other places. The community college system more closely resembles a transition between the very flexible world of work, where your time is flexed based on task, and that world of K 12 where everything is hyper controlled. Yes, you still have the periodicity of weeks and semesters, and there's a calendar to it. So it's not quite as flexible as the world of work. Although, if you attend uh, if you attend a class asynchronously, right, and pursue it that way, then it is completely flexed. And I think a lot of education is moving in that direction. As somebody that achieved their master's degree and doctoral degree in an entirely asynchronous environment, with the exception of my dissertation defense, I'm an enthusiast for that, right? And making the system again work for you and not working for the system. Community college, with the fact that it is so flexible, the fact that it is so willing to innovate, yes. When you look at our macroeconomic problem of structural debt and population bomb, right, and Social Security and Medicare, you know, um, all the unfunded liability that we have, expediting the entry into the workforce of young people, getting them into positive cash flow positions as contributors to the system is one of the ways that we can help alleviate some of the pressure on it.
Now that I think about it, like going back to our previous question, in a yes or no answer, is it reasonable to say that school districts across the country are trying to go towards developing the dual enrollment pathway for high school students and partnering with both high school students and community colleges? Like, is it happening, or is it going to take some time for that to be in place, or even start in the first place?
Yes, and yes. Um, it's happening. It's happening unevenly. You have to look at the incentives in the system. Yeah, right?
Mhm.
You have to look at the incentives in the system. In public education, when you have the power to tax and you know that a certain amount of money is just going to come in, that can be, fortunately for me, it isn't, but it can be a disincentive to change, right? Well, if we just continue to do what we've always done,
Mhm.
then we're going to continue to realize what we've realized, and when we know in life that that's not true. If you continue to do what you've always done, the world is going to change around you, and if you're not adapting with it, you're not actually going to get what you've always gotten. You're going to get worse.
Right.
So unless you're continuing to change with the world around you and innovate, then you're not going to get what you've always got.
Definitely. Wow, that's very touching. And yes, we will get there, even through all the things that we have on top of everything else. It's going to get there. Interesting. Okay, so question is, how can community colleges better serve as academic and economic launch pads for students?
Wow. I think it's continuing to innovate, and the more localized that the community college can be to have its fingers on the pulse of what the workforce development needs are for the region, and then to design those aligned experiences, the better off the community college is going to be positioned and the better off their students are going to be.
Makes sense. Now, moving forward, I'm pretty sure you've had a lot many conversations about the dual enrollment with students or also parents too. So, what's the biggest misconception you hear about or heard about community colleges when you interact with students or parents?
Entitlement, looking their nose down at it as an experience. And when I tell parents and students, uh, first of all, where you go to college for your undergraduate degree does not matter. It does not matter, uh, and and that the first 2 years of your college experience, largely from an academic perspective, are going to be the same almost no matter where you go. Um, Once you've dispelled that, that takes care of a lot of that nonsense, right? But when I also tell parents and students that the bar to entry to be a professor at the community college is a higher bar to entry academically than it is to be a K 12 educator, that dispels a lot of that right away.
Okay.
But it's a meaningful misconception and it's the source of a lot of apprehension. And as I have grown older in life, humility is a character trait that I have grown to revere more and more. And exposing people to a new idea when they have the humility to recognize that they don't know everything about that idea before they've encountered it, right? Or that their past experience related to that idea may be just anecdotal and not writ large, you find a better audience. I'll also say that like there's no more powerful advertising than word of mouth. And last year we had our first two graduates from the associate's degree program, and this year we have five graduates. Next year we're going to have like a dozen and a half, and thereafter multiple dozens, right? And it's built on the fact of those first two graduates going off and starting as far along in their 4-year career as they did.
Do you have a favorite story of a student who was transformed by the dual enrollment process? Like I know you did mention about two students graduating last year with an associate's degree and also graduating from high school, but any other favorite story of a student who was transferred or I mean transformed by the dual enrollment process?
So I'm thinking about one student in particular who uh, came to me as a very high performing academic student with uh, clinical anxiety issues. And we were able to recognize that big source of her anxiety is the fact that she had so many different things to manage at any given point in time. And one of the beauties of the associate's degree program, the way that it's structured, you're getting a a full high school credit for a one semester college class, right? So if you're taking 7 or 8 college classes over the course of an entire year, you're only worrying about 3 or 4 things at a time, not 7, 8, or 9 different classes into which you're enrolled. She reported after just a few weeks into her first semester how much better her life was. She was able to perform academically at a very high level with much less anxiety because she wasn't worried about that many different things. And the kid is just flourishing, flourishing. And to know that you can have that kind of an effect on a young person's life, there's nothing better.
Wow, that is amazing to hear. Congrats to them. That's a great feeling, right? That's great when you can actually make an impact. At least making an impact on one person, that just makes your whole day. That's awesome. All right, so to wrap this up, we have one more question. In 10 years, what's your dream for K-12 and community college partnerships? What do you believe that could happen in 10 years?
That it becomes the normal thing to do for students to pursue an associate's degree alongside their high school diploma. that becomes typical, that we've done a good enough job by the time the kid is exiting ninth or 10th grade for them to attempt college level work, and then for them to be successful on the back end and compress their time at university by a couple of years. My dream is that every child in K-12 education is getting exactly the instruction that they need in order to grow to the best of their ability, right? And the community college is better leveraged as a partner in order to do that.
Wow. That's such a beautiful answer. Like, wow. That's a great note to end on, like all these serious questions and answers. I mean, I was having fun with the discussion, but also let's change our mood to something fun since we are almost at the end of the episode. All right, Dr. Podell, it's time for a lightning round. What we call is what would you say? Okay. We'll read a common misconception about dual enrollment or community college. So just imagine what if a student or a parent comes to you and says the statement, you hit us with a quick fire response. Okay? Ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. We'll start in three, two, one, and here is your first statement. Community college is just for people who couldn't get into real school.
Come on. Like, really? Like, the, the number of community college professors that also adjunct at a four-year college or university what a stupid statement.
I like that. I like that. Okay, a second statement. Dual enrollment is too hard for high schoolers.
How dare you patronize the kids that way?
The next statement. Transferring from a community college is a nightmare.
No, they're full-time professionals called transfer advisors that help you do that. We build it into our programming that students meet with them. It, it couldn't be further from the truth.
Okay. Dual enrollment only helps honor students.
Also not true. Um, Dual enrollment programming can be leveraged to help any student depending upon where their post-secondary trajectory is heading.
Okay, makes sense. The next statement. Community college doesn't lead to real careers.
Who is the city? Honest to goodness, like the number of career certificate granting programs that they have, it's more voluminous than the number of associate's degree programs that they have that get you to transfer to a 4-year. No.
Okay. The next one. Dual enrollment only benefits students who are already on the college track.
No, look at the literature. The literature puts the lie to that. Kids that are marginal to go to college or university, they experience dual enrollment, they tend to do better.
Okay. Next one. This is my favorite one. You can't get a real college experience at a community college.
Just go. Like, just go and see it.
Makes sense. The next one. Most dual enrollment credits don't transfer anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, that's not true. Don't take their first answer as the answer. Take it as the opening offer.
Yep.
Yep. I agree. I'm going to remember this too for the rest of my life. If you start at a community college, you will never catch up academically.
Yeah, again, also not true, because the only way that the 4-year college or university is going to be willing to accept those transfer credits is if they've done that crosswalk of the syllabi and the competencies that the community college class is saying that you have, and the competencies that their course that's analogous is saying that you have. So, no.
Okay. Next one. Career and technical education isn't as valuable as a traditional degree.
I mean, the return on investment math puts the lie to that, right?
Spot on. Wow. That's a great answer. Like perfect. The next one. And this is my favorite one too. Dual enrollment puts too much pressure on high school students.
High school students put too much pressure on high school students, principally, and from the misperception that uh, social media only reinforces and exacerbates, but existed long before it. you see everyone else's highlight reel in life and you see your own blooper reel. And so you engage in social comparison. And because the locus of so much of your morality and affirmation as a teenager comes from your peer group, you haven't grown beyond to have a greater sense of self and realize that that's nonsense, right? Um, no.
Uh, Last one. Community colleges are just for trade jobs, not for people who want to transfer or go to grad school.
Yeah, that's just not the case. And you know, for folks that have such negative impression of community colleges generally, if you're skeptical about anything that I have to say about its lifetime value, go check out some of the awesome work that's being done by the Department of Education nationally, tracking postgraduate success from community colleges. Check out the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation and their work with community college students and getting them to matriculate to four-year college and university, and the number of those kids that then go on to pursue post-grad work and professions that um, require credentialing beyond the bachelor's degree. It, the, the literature puts the lie to all of these misconceptions that you noted, and the lived experience of the two of you will serve as further testament to that.
Wow. Oh, this was a great game segment. Thank you so much, Yagna, for this. I learned a lot. This was great. Wonderful.
I had a blast. Uh, you guys, I'm so impressed with the two of you and uh, the agency that you've assumed over your lives. Yes, the willingness that you have to share your story and use that in your lived experience as a way to benefit others is inspiring. So, thank you for what you're doing and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for giving us this opportunity to actually interview you in the first place. And thank you for inspiring us. And I'm pretty sure our listeners are inspired too. This has been a very beautiful and amazing conversation on dual enrollment and the power of pathways. It's either community college or even accessing college education while in high school. Thank you very much for that. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure to follow us for more inspiring conversations about the world of community college. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and stay rooted in purpose, just like the Deep Roots Productions. This is Yagna signing off.
Stay unique, everyone. Have a great day.